Hello, guys. Welcome to another fresh episode on the show, Control or Be Controlled podcast, designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Rebel. Rebel, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, Rebel, I would like you to introduce yourself to my audience.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I am a special needs parent to two children who have needs within the special education system. Years ago, after my son's first IEP meeting turned into an absolute disaster, uh, I had to draw on my unique background as a former Air Force officer and corporate contract negotiator to successfully secure the support that he needed. And that journey taught me that while the school has its systems, parents need to set the tone, and parents actually have to take a leadership role within that system, even though they're not technically in control of it. Today, as a somatic healer and as author of Lanterns in the Dark, I teach parents how to establish this grounded leadership within the school system and advocate successfully for their children.
All right, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. So let's get into the questions with you. Okay, your own journey into special education advocacy started with a meeting that didn't go well. What happened and how did that experience shape everything you teach today?
Absolutely. That first experience I went into very naively. I walked into the school expecting to be a passive participant, and we had in the system. I didn't realize that uh, the process for getting your kids the services that they need and the services that you can see that would benefit them as they start to struggle is a multi-step process. And uh, like I said, I was just naive. I walked into that very first meeting expecting the school to have this, I don't know, buffet laid out for me of all of these things that they were going to do to support my son. And uh, needless to say, they denied my request for him to even have evaluations, and it really rocked me, and honestly surprised both my husband and I so much that I just remember standing on the sidewalk outside of the school, staring at my husband, going, "Wait, what the heck just happened in there?" And luckily, I had a friend who was in special education in a different state, and I was able to reach out to her, and she got me in touch with actual advocates. And I was able to lean on my community and realized that I had to be an active participant. I couldn't just be passive and expect things to show up for my kids. And I also have a very, like I said in my introduction, a very unique background. I was an officer in the military. I negotiated corporate contracts for a living. So I had these skills that I was able to lean on and pull from to turn that situation around. And all I could think about while I was doing it is it was so hard for me, and I had all of those skills in my back pocket. What about the other kids whose parents don't have those skills? And I swore at that moment that I would do whatever I could to make it easier for other parents, because it's not right that a child's support is dependent on the skills of the parent navigating the system, but it's the reality that we have to work with. So that really informed my advocacy efforts, how I have tried to show up within the community and support other parents as I've had the capacity to do so.
All right, thank you so much. So, you believe parents shouldn't see themselves as guests in the IEP process? Why is it so important for them to step into leadership role?
I think it's really important because while the law states here in the US that uh, children are entitled to the support that they need to access a public education, resources are finite. And the reality is that a school district has to look at the needs of their population and do the best for the whole population, not necessarily the best for any one individual child, because resources are constrained. It's not infinite to be able to support every single child with every single aspect of what they might need. And so you have to be ad- an advocate for your children. Otherwise, your kid's going to slip through the cracks. And if you aren't you are the only one in the process that is 100% focused on your child. Everyone else in the whole system has a split focus. They have to balance things across a classroom or their list of kids who are getting speech services or what have you. And even year to year, the people on an IEP team change. The case managers switch out. When you switch from elementary school into the secondary schools, your whole team will change. But you, as the parent, stay on that IEP team from beginning to end. So if you don't take a leadership role, there's no one else who has all of the history and knowledge that you do, and all of that is lost, and your child will be underserved.
Okay, so many parents walk into school meetings feeling anxious or intimidated. What are the biggest mistakes they make before the conversations even begin?
I think some of the biggest mistakes that I see is walking in expecting things to be adversarial, like they're almost spoiling for a fight. I think it's normal to have high emotions when you walk into these meetings, and especially if things haven't been going well, it's easy to walk in braced for a fight. But people respond to the energy that you bring into the room. And I've always found it better to go into these meetings in a spirit of collaboration, with a spirit of gratitude, with a spirit of uh, understanding deeply the constraints of the system and what they're working with, but expecting that collaboration and that together we can come up with a creative middle ground that works within the system, but also ensures that my child gets the support that they need. So, a lot of parents, and it's so easy to do. I know there were times where before a meeting, I was filled with anger at how the system was not working well for us. But the minute I walked into that room, I had to put all of that in a box. I had to be steady in my own energy so that I could be confident and express myself and advocate effectively for my child. So I think spoiling for a fight, and then the other big mistake that I see is parents just not being educated on the system. What is this meeting that I'm going into? What information do I need to take to this meeting with me? what is going to be discussed, what's the decision that's going to be made in this particular meeting, and what's the information I should have on the backside of that, and how does that flow into the next step in the process. So I think being uh, having your nervous system settled and knowing the system inside and out as much as you can are two of the things that parents can quickly do to change the energy before they even say a word.
All right, thank you so much. So your background includes military service and corporate contract negotiations. How have those experiences influenced the way you teach parents to advocate for their children?
They absolutely influenced how I approach things, because especially when you're in the military, you're dealing with tough situations. Whether you're just practicing for a combat situation or actually find yourself in a combat situation, you have to make the best out of what you have in front of you. You have to be really realistic. And both of them are about knowing and understanding the quote unquote other side that you are interacting with. And my approach has always been one of, okay, this situation may suck, but how can we make the best out of it? And whether that's cracking a joke or making sure that I express gratitude and appreciation for the people that I need to work with me and collaborate with, I I approach every situation as, let's make the best out of this. Let's pull together as a team. We may not want to be on the same team together, but we are. So let's see what we can build and create, and um, or turn around if the situation has already gotten adversarial. I think it also has, um, it's definitely informed how I look at being a leader, and understanding that being a leader isn't about having power. It is about, how do I want to say this? It's about being steadfast and about caring for the people on your team and ensuring that everyone, to the best of your ability, has what they need in order to achieve their part in the process. And so, if as a parent I'm walking into a school, I am not the boss. And yet, I am the one who knows my child the best. And I'm also the one that has the consistency across from year to year in supporting my child. So when I take on a leadership role there, it's about ensuring that everyone else has what they need to support my kid. So how can I volunteer within my means in the classroom? How can I support the school in other ways so that it can free up resources over here on the other side, or just make myself a more valuable member within the community so that um, they see me as an equal team player in the situation. And I think my negotiation training falls right into that of um, really believing and seeing yourself as an equal, and not um, not expecting special treatment that you're not willing to work for, if that makes sense.
All right, thank you so much, Robert. So, your book includes what you call sanity savers. What's one simple strategy that can help an overwhelmed parent regain a sense of control today?
I think the one that I teach the first is and really these sanity savers, to back up just a second, these sanity savers are all about things that you can do in the moment. It's easy for me to sit here and say, you need to be calm when you're in these meetings. You need to keep yourself, in this like embodied leadership role. And I know just as well as everybody else that that's a lot easier to say than to actually do. I have cried in IEP meetings, even though I am a trained negotiator. It's when you're talking about your children, it's so hard to, it's impossible to strip all emotion out of it. However, there are times where you really do need to pull yourself back quickly. And so my focus is really on making self-care, or these quote sanity savers, something that can be done in the moment that parents truly need it. It's great to say you should meditate for an hour every morning. Sure. I don't know that I have a spare hour to sit in silence every single morning, and this is what I do for a living. And also, that doesn't help me in that moment when I'm either in an IEP meeting or dealing with my child and a situation that they are struggling to deal with. So, the best example that I can give you is going to sound so simple that maybe some of your listeners will roll their eyes, but I want everyone, if it's okay, I'll actually lead your listeners through this 30-second practice. And does that sound like a good thing to do, Darlington? I'll just go ahead. So if take just a moment, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, even if you're driving while you're listening to this podcast, take just a second and check in with yourself. See how you feel. Notice if there's any tension anywhere in your shoulders, in your neck. And what I want you to do is just take 2 deep breaths. We're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you to make your exhale just a little bit longer than the inhale. So breathe with me in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose and out through the mouth.
All right, Robert, thank
And
you so much. So, here is my final question for you. For families just beginning their special education journey, what is the most important mindset shift that can make the entire process more effective and less overwhelming?
I think just recognizing that you have a critical and active part to play is one of the most important things. Don't go into the school feeling like you are on a lower that you're lower than the school in like some sort of a power hierarchy or a dynamic, right? There's a reason why parents are legally required to be part of this IEP process. It's because your voice matters. Your voice has a direct impact into the kind of support that your child gets. You are a mandatory part of the process for a reason. You're not there to be an observer. You're not there to just be a passive participant and only receive. You are there to play an active role in guiding what the team decides, and you get a vote on those decisions. You get to say yes or no to what the team is proposing. So just understanding that mindset and that you do have control in the situation. The school may even try to tell you that you don't, depending on your situation, depending on your school. That might be their reproach, is to try and disempower parents so that uh, you don't, quote, cause a ruckus or create problems for the school. You're not being a problem parent, you're being an active parent. And if they see your active participation as a problem, then that means you need to double down on being an active parent, active in the school, active in this process, because it means that um, they don't want oversight. And those are exactly the schools that need more oversight and need more parents involved.
Thank you so much, Rebe. Thank you for sharing your such a practical and empowering advice for parents navigating one of the most challenging seasons of their life. So, if our listeners would like to learn more about your coaching and connect with you or pick up a copy of Lanterns in the Dark, a holistic guide to navigating special education without losing your sanity, where is the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so all of my information can be found at rebegoebel.com. So I've given you that link, Darlington. I'm sure you're going to put it in the show notes. I'm also at Rebe Goebel on Instagram. That's where I tend to be more active. And the book Lanterns in the Dark is available wherever you buy books. So it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, bookshop.org if you want to support indie bookstores. Um, and if you want a signed copy, then you can go directly to my website. I do have paperback copies to send out directly to readers. I do parent coaching, so I am not an advocate that goes in and sits in the meetings with parents to advocate real time. My role is one step kind of like behind the curtain to empower parents to have these skills themselves and go and advocate for their children. I do group coaching and one-on-one coaching as well. All of the information about that, like I said, can be found at rebegoebel.com.
Hi, thank you so much once again, Rebecca. Thank you for coming to my show and for sharing your perspective and your wisdom with me and my guests.
It was my pleasure.
All right, so Rebecca, as part of helping us to grow as a show and helping us reach out to more notable guests like you, we ask you to please go onto Podmatch right now, confirm that this episode has been completed, and leave us a review about our wonderful show.
Absolutely.
So I figured out that I think you are new to Podmatch. I don't know if you know how to go about that.
I am somewhat new to to Podmatch, but I've watched like the videos on how to go through and do all that. So
All right, all right, all right. Do have a wonderful day.
thank you so much. You too, Darlington.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.